feeling like a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it take a swim, only option is to win. In the murky water, not a thought of giving in. Welcome to the shrimp tank. Want to put it all together, this is big things. Doing big things. We ain't in the same league. Running a campaign, Roadie 2016. Like a phone to die, putting me in charge. I'm a general from the front, I'ma lead the charge. Like a federal, fell on my lap, never. Going hard as ever.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode here on the Shrimp Tank Podcast, powered by Celsius Beverage. This podcast is done in collaboration with the Florida Atlantic University, their entrepreneurship program, ran by Kevin Cox. And each and every week, we have 30, 40 students sitting in live and participating during the show. You want to catch all these amazing episodes? You could check our website out, shrimptankpodcast.com. Kevin, let's kick things off. What do our guests have to do today?
Oh, well, they've got to do what we ask all our students to do. But before I do that, I want to introduce our fantastic guests. We've got Diana and Ornela here today from 5 Elements Medical Spa and Wellness Center. So it should be an intriguing episode. And Diana and Ornela, I always try to teach these students to be able to give a great elevator pitch. 30, 60 seconds about who they are, what their company is, and what they do. So I'm going to put you both on the spot and have you deliver your elevator pitches right now.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Ornela. This is my sister, Diana. We are also known as the Gemini Sisters. Our pitch is that we bring beauty and wellness into one, where we always state that self-care is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. But we bring luxury to self-care.
Pretty good. I have a feeling Diana might beat that out, though. Diana, you got to give a pitch as well. Go for it.
I think Ornella summed it up. Health and wellness is not only trending, but it's something that you guys all should start thinking about as you're, getting a little older and growing. And I don't know. I think that's it. That's what we're doing.
Nice. And you guys have your spa location right in Deerfield Beach, correct?
Oh, yes. Yes, we have a beautiful 13,000 square foot facility. It's 2 stories. The first story is our day spa, where we have all our wellness and our amenities included, where we do massages and facials. And then the second floor, we have all our medical care. And all our wellness as well, and an event space.
Okay, all the students listening in, they're about 15 minutes from campus. So I know everybody enjoys a good spa service once in a while. Okay, this part of the show is all about the students. They come up and create a game show. We do not know what the game show will be, so come on down. And one of us, of course, will be the winner.
How you doing, you guys? My name is Justice. So the game today is Fix the Business. So I'm going to read through the prompts one by one. When I finish reading the players, we'll hit the buzzer. And then after that, you're going to answer the questions. So the way it's worked is there's 3 parts. A player must choose between 3 options: a marketing, management, or a day-to-day operational issue that's affecting the business. So it's 3 parts. There's 3 points that come with it. It's completion by answering the question, and then you have to give a viable solution to the issue at hand, and then just describe why the solution will work. So and then if anybody disagrees, like you guys, somebody answers a question, somebody disagrees, you guys can confirm stuff like that and steal the question over.
Okay.
All right. So for the first one, it's they're all South Florida themed as well. So the first one is: a cafe near the beach gets tons of tourists, but locals don't come back. The cafe has no loyalty program, no local promotions, and rarely posts on social media.
Who's going to buzz?
So
We have to give them a solution.
So we have to figure out a
So
solution.
you have to pick between 3 options: a marketing issue, a management issue, or a day-to-day operational issue.
Well, I would first say that it's a management issue. I find that any issue in the business always falls on the leadership. If you don't know what you're doing and you don't have a structure to implement, then you can't blame your team for not doing their job if you're not doing yours. I believe in being a leader, not a boss. There is a difference. A leader puts in that structure, explains how to do it, and the best way to do that is to do it yourself first. Figure out where the issues are and how to fill the blanks. This sounds like there's literally nothing ready for them at all. So that comes from the beginning, which is your job as the business owner to put those things in place to be able to then do the marketing. You can't just market something just to market something. You have to know who is your core audience. What are you trying to pitch? What is your product or your service? how to make it better than Joe Schmo down the street that's also doing the same thing as you. So you have to really target those things before you just kind of throw money in the wind for marketing. You have to have that structure, and that comes from the back end first. That's my opinion.
Do we have a steal?
What are the other three options?
So it's marketing,
Ooh, I won
management,
that.
or a day-to-day operational issue.
It's not really a steal. Just like to add on, I think it's day to day. A lot of locals aren't coming back because they don't like the service, and there's probably so many people from out of state or not from that town that are coming in, and probably gets annoying for them. It's not like their own spot.
Definitely. All right, so for number 2, it's a boat rental company. The company gets a lot of online bookings, but customers frequently cancel or don't show up. Many of the customer complaints online are unclear about booking policies, and then there's no reminder system. So it's between management, marketing, or operational.
Operational. We see this common with businesses. They don't have a proper CRM that properly tracks clients and then also automates different things throughout the process. So one of the most popular systems right now is Go High Level, used by many small business owners. And when you input the data correctly, what happens is they automatically send text message reminders, emails, and it's super important to have that part of the process. So if people are getting frustrated and you have a very high cancellation rate, it's typically something that could be fixed with automation with the right systems.
Any steals, or do we agree?
No, I just agree. It's operational, but it's something like that, like the solution, in addition to what Jason laid out there, is deposit, non-refundable deposit, right? Get those funds in the door, and then you don't care quite as much if there ends up being a cancellation.
Yeah. I think you have to hold them accountable too. We have this issue at the spas. Sometimes they book and then they don't show up to their appointments. Well, we do have a policy for charging if there's no-show fee. So I think that's something that they
100%. We take credit cards. We don't book that or charge them until they don't show up. We clearly state the cancellation policy. We remind it in emails, text messages. It's on the front desk. It's all the consents that they sign when they come in, so they don't say, "Oh, I didn't know you didn't have." They know. So if they don't show up or they don't cancel within a certain time frame, we charge them for the time.
And something I'm going to add is it's really difficult right now because people don't read long paragraphs, right? So if you send an email, sometimes it goes to spam, right? And it's nobody's fault. The other times you send a text message and they think it's a spam message. They do not read it because we're all getting inundated by spam. And then social media, same thing. Sometimes you think it got to their inbox, but then it went to their spam folder. So right now is the most difficult time I've ever seen with communicating with clients and customers because every customer works differently. Some only check Instagram. It's crazy. Some only check LinkedIn and some only check their cell phone, and they rarely use their email. So it's super important to pick multiple verticals and be short and to the point. That's my 2 cents.
So the next one is going to be a clothing boutique. A boutique still relies mostly on walk-in traffic and word of mouth. Nearby stores are active on Instagram and offer online shopping, but this boutique does not, and sales are dropping.
I believe it's a marketing issue. Nobody's gonna know like where this boutique is or like just where it's gonna be at, and I feel like that comes from social media and marketing. And if the platform for marketing was better, they'd have a lot more traffic, a lot more revenue.
Jump deeper. What type of marketing should they do?
Just like social media stuff, maybe Facebook. It depends what kind of clothing they're selling. Obviously, if it's stuff for say me or somebody my age, you want to do it on like Instagram, Snapchat, maybe TikTok, stuff like that. Like blow up the pages so people my age or that like the target audience is going to be reached. And once that target audience is reached, their revenues should go up.
Awesome. So the next one is going to be Spotless Services Power Washing. Follow it on Instagram, spotless.servicesfl. Don't know why it says that. It's crazy. South Florida native is running a power washing business and is struggling to maintain consistent work. He gains his current clientele with word of mouth from previous jobs and door-to-door sales tactics. Facebook ads did not work. What should he do?
What I would say is, what is his, callback for the people that he's worked with before? How's he reaching out to the clients that he's had? Is there maybe a subscription service that he can do every 3 months, come out and, power wash whatever they have? Is there a loyalty program? Is he giving a referral fee for recommendations? How is he, thanking those clients that he did work with before. And I think he could grow it that way. Is that?
I'll tell him if I
Okay.
see him.
I don't know.
I see him.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Steal? I'll steal it.
Yeah.
I love this question because the trades are so underserviced, right? Everyone, once get a little older, typically will buy a home. If you have children, you raise a family in that home, and you work with a lot of trade businesses, and everyone is frustrated. So if anyone in this room wants to make over $100,000, it's not rocket science. You could simply start a power washing business by buying equipment for under $1,000. And all you have to do is treat your customers right. Show up on time, right? And often 95% of the people in the trades don't do that. They give you a window like 6 hours, which is ridiculous. Like, it's so easy to show up on time. If you have a cell phone number, right, you can just text them, hey, I left my last job. I'm going to be there in 30 minutes to an hour. And a lot of that is actually automated. One of the best businesses that we had on the show that does a really good job of this is Erica's Plumbing, right? I use them. They text you a picture of who's coming and even the rating of that service professional, so you feel comfortable when someone enters your home. The next thing you have to do is have an automated system for reviews. So you have a happy customer, but then you're making it hard on yourself. Just ask your current customers for reviews. Google is everything today. If you have close to a 5-star review, the first thing everybody in this room will do is search that company before hiring that brand. Even if it's word of mouth, we all go back to Google and be like, okay, do I really trust that reference? Or are they just trying to get, a percent back on their next job, which is quite common. People to my right have close to a 5-star review with hundreds of reviews, why people trust their spa. And of course you go on and on, like a quality website, everything from top down really matters. And people in the trades typically have a garbage website. We notice it's not built for leads, right? It should be a funnel to create opportunities to easily see what you do, and pricing is pretty transparent. Too often people are doing old school paper and pen model, and these businesses can't get out of their own way. But we've seen so many on the shrimp tank buy businesses that are doing $100,000, $200,000, and within a year to 2 years, multi-million dollars of revenue just for adding on the proper service and technology.
Yeah. We've done that.
We're a 4.9 star, just so you guys know.
With
Close.
fake negative reviews.
The only 2 negative reviews are fake people. They do not exist.
True.
They're bots.
It really is.
Nice.
All right, so the next one is a Wynwood art gallery. The gallery is packed during art walk events, but staff rarely follows up with visitors, collects emails, or explains pricing, and sales remain low despite a high interest in the product.
Operational.
Yeah, I just hadn't said anything in a while. I don't really know what
Go
to
for
do.
it.
We were wondering where you work, Evan. You said we were going to clean up this round.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'd say it's both management and operational, right? Because as you stated earlier, right, that management really has to put the controls in place and manage it, but then, for it to operate effectively. So in this scenario, they need better policies, better arrangements, better incentive structure for the salespeople, right? They're driving the traffic to the store. Conceivably, the art is interesting, but they're not following up, right? So maybe they need more of a commission basis, right? To incentivize their salespeople to generate sales rather than just showing up to the gallery, standing around, serving drinks, doing whatever they do at galleries.
Oh, we got to steal.
Steal.
A steal. So yes and no. In my experience, incentives is a double-edged sword. People either when they start a bit, like when somebody starts a role, they're on fire for the first 30 days, let's say, because they want to impress you as the employer. They want to do well at their job. They're like a sponge taking everything in. But once they kind of get used to it, they get complacent, their work ethic starts to slow down. Incentives are great, but set expectations, in my opinion, are better. I want people to do a good job because that's what I expect of them as well, not to sound like a stickler. But yes, incentives, bonuses, stuff like to reward them for doing continuously a good job, unless they're like a marketing type of position where they work on commissions and a certain structure that we say, okay, if you bring me X amount every month, I'll give you 3% of that, whatever. That's different. But let's say for our front desk team, I have set expectations. This is their role. I clearly stated in their job descriptions. I clearly stated in their interview during their training. We make as foolproof as we possibly can, what to do when this scenario happens, what to do when this happens. But if we, as like he said, it's operational management is true, because if you don't follow up with your team to ensure they're doing those things, it doesn't matter. So to me, I feel like incentives are great, but expectations that are set and you have to follow through that, hey, I'm not okay with this. Yesterday you did it like this. Like, I like to play on people's strengths, not their weaknesses, but you have to be open to constructive criticism to say, hey, you were okay here, but this is how we can be better. And let me show you how. So that's, in my opinion, a little bit different of why I do like incentives like that, but I'm also kind of depends on the situation.
And Kevin, I loved your answer, but you violated the rules. He said you could only pick one, and you picked two. So I think he does not get a credit for that answer.
I'm at negative.
He's at negative.
We actually just took 3 points from you.
Let's go, Justice.
All right. So, and the last one is going to be, let me pick a good one. Hold on.
They're all good. They're all good. Yeah, I like
All right.
these.
So this is they were supposed to be of increasing difficulty. This is the hard level one. So
Here we
it's
go.
just less information. So it's okay, it's a e-commerce brand. The brand has a strong social media traffic and consistent sales, but a very high return rate on products. Anthony.
So I think the return rate is based off the product's quality.
Yeah.
And I feel like the manager should make the product better quality, and you won't see that many returns in the product. I think it's simple as that.
I think it's a very hard question because we don't
don't
have
know
quite
what
enough
the-
information.
I agree with him. Like,
Right?
well,
Like-
is it their return policy, or are they just they give
Well,
you too much time?
It could be Halloween, and everyone does the trick on Amazon when
there
they buy
enough-
it and return it.
Yeah.
To me, it's also expectations of the product. Like, is there a good understanding of what you're actually purchasing and what it's supposed to do, or how long it takes for the product to
see results.
yeah, like, I don't know what is the product, so it's just
Yeah.
returning is like, why are they returning? If it's like a functional issue, then yes, you have to go to the manufacturer and fix that problem 100%. Otherwise, are the expectations and education there for the consumer to understand what the product is, what they're purchasing, and what its purpose is, and the realistic expectations of this product?
Yeah, and it could be something much simpler, and it could be like a high quality product. It could be something as simple as sizing. So we had a company that was e-commerce and doing apparel, and they noticed when they expanded into international markets, they kind of needed a different landing page, a different layout, and a different sizing because American sizes are wild and
True.
not the same. So they were getting all sorts of returned, and everybody was like, this is not a medium. This is like an XL. And he was like, well, that's an American medium in this instance. And we figured out that we could mitigate all those returns by giving proper sizes based on the geographic context of the specific country in which they were selling. Easy fix, but expensive mistake.
Fun fact, we also own a custom apparel company. So yes, you are 100% correct.
If you want a name drop,
And
you're
a
welcome to.
nightclub.
Free
Stitch
marketing.
Kings. Check them out on Instagram.
Okay, who's the winner?
The guests are the winner.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You did great, though. I was
Yeah,
surprised
you
by that.
definitely
so good.
had more points than
That's all
me.
that
You didn't
matters.
introduce
Yeah.
yourself either.
Oh, by the way, I'm Anthony Ferraro.
Good job, man.
Good job, Anthony.
thanks
Great
for joining
job.
the show.
Okay. The next segment of the show is to learn about your backstory as an entrepreneur and how you guys operate your current business. So, how did you guys get into the spa business? Take us back to the early days. Was this your first business, your second business? And kind of give us
which
the fast
business?
track on.
Fast
I know you could
track.
spend a lot of time on the first business probably,
Right.
but kind of give us kind of the storyline.
The fast track of it all was we don't come from a business background. Ornela and I actually come from a psychology background. Mine is a master's in community counseling. She is in a bachelor's with psychology. We decided to open our first business once we identified that there was a need for what we were doing. Our first business was a home health and hospice agency in Philadelphia. We opened it up in 2010 and sold it in 2019. Or 2020,
Yeah,
right before
2019,
right before COVID. So after we sold that business, we decided to take a break we opened another business, a custom apparel company that unfortunately didn't do well because of COVID and all the restrictions we had in Philly because of that. It's still operational, but it's not where it should be. And then we decided to move to Florida and open up 5 Element Spa. 5 Element Spa is a complete different business than what we used to do, which is more preventative care, wellness-based, focused more on the client's outcomes and your goals versus end-of-life care and then just, hospice, hospice care for people who are passing and bereavement care. But we did identify a need in both of those businesses, and that's why we decided to go into them. What we found differently that doesn't exist in Florida was kind of the model that we decided to do, which was medical focused care as well as just holistic wellness. So we put the two of those together. We identified that there was a need here, that nothing like what we really have exists. And we decided to, build a foundation and figure it out and hire the right people, and obviously the building that we purchased to put the spa in. So it all kind of trickled down that way, but it birthed out of the fact that we did end of life care, and it was such a heavy
Yeah, I was about
business.
to say, like, extreme opposites. One
we
side,
learned-
everybody is crying
Yeah.
and you're around such sadness.
True.
And then on the far side,
More
around
importantly, we were
happiness, everyone
very much
is coming out the other end with a smile. on their
correct. I mean, it
faces.
was rewarding in both fields, but this is more preventative. So we learned how and your care now affects you
Yeah,
when you're older.
that makes a lot
And
of
we
sense.
didn't only have older adults too. We had all kinds of patients in our business. So, but we learned, a young person at 37 having an end stage cancer. Well, what led to that? What did they do wrong in their life? Is it genetics? Is it environment? Is it,
Of course.
food? What are they doing? And how can we prevent that? How can we give more longevity, better quality of life? And that's where this business kind of stemmed
Yeah.
from, that need.
If I can add, so essentially we did it for over a decade. We became the second, third largest in the area. We had, like I was saying earlier, over 3,000 employees at one point. So we became pretty big.
Yeah,
The best way we went to do that is you really have to believe in what you're doing and what you're selling. Like, not to sound corny, but it's true. If you don't have, a true belief in what you're putting out there, and what we did was give genuine care to the clients, which was sounds absurd, but this industry is so abused that it was not surprising to find companies that just open and just bill and do nothing.
Right now in California, what's
Yeah,
happening
they're having
with this
huge
home
Medicare
health,
frauds.
Yeah.
We didn't
it's
do those
very
things.
rampant.
We
in that
came, we
industry.
serviced, we did a great job. Word of mouth helped us grow, marketing helped us grow, all those things. But point of that business, how we came to 5 Elements, is because, like she said, you start seeing patterns in a decade of seeing clients, how they decline, why the decline. Like she said, is it environmental, is it genetic? Of course, all those things come into play. We're not very religious people, but this experience truly made me more spiritual, in a sense of mind, body, and soul truly is a thing, you guys. And I think we're in a place now that is so different than when we were growing up. You guys have everything so
Available.
easily accessible to you to learn and experience and understand, that take advantage of that and really take time for yourself. Especially as students, you guys are probably under more stress than you might realize, because as we all know, a lot of stress is subconscious. You're not even aware of it. So definitely take account, to take a step back and understand, what do I need to do better, to be better. And that's how 5 Elements kind of came on board, because we really wanted to bring that education to people and let them know, hey, the way you treat yourself now is truly going to affect the way you age when you get older. And aside from on the business aspect, that was a very, insurance based type of programs. You have to bill insurances, you have to follow a lot of regulations, state, federal, everything. This is a cash-based business.
Which gives you a tad of stress, right?
It's a
Dealing with
different
insurance
industry.
Companies waiting on hold all the time.
100%.
Takes forever.
The outcome of revenue is tremendous in that versus a cash-based business, because it takes a lot longer to start up, and their ROI might not be as much in the beginning. But yes, cash-based business is a little bit
And Kevin
easier,
loves
for
this
sure.
business, by the way. Kevin's
Then-
addicted
yeah.
to doing a lot of things with his house. So Kevin, jump on
Oh,
in.
I love
I see you
it.
smiling down there.
He's like, I want to say something.
I do a few crazy things, but I love the story.
Yeah.
So you talk about belief and you talk about starting this up. I want to talk a little bit about that. I mean, it sounds like you went all in. So was the
For which
facility?
one?
We
Which
went
business?
all
This
in.
one.
Oh, this one.
We
yeah. So-
truly were going to, because we moved to Florida. I called her after we sold the business. COVID, like we were saying earlier, in Northeast was completely apocalyptic. Like it was insane out there. I don't know if all of you are true Floridians. You guys have no idea what it was like for people from the Northeast. It was insane. Shutdowns. It was like a communist country. You couldn't buy food at the store. You had to
They
wait in
shut
line.
down our
businesses.
business,
It was
40,000 square foot building, and we
Yeah.
had more than 6 feet apart
It was
from
a
people.
chaos.
We had contracts with the city of Philadelphia, with the different casinos. We did the uniforms. We did the UFC. We've done celebrities. We did merch for all kinds of
Yeah,
football
they didn't
stars.
care. They were
They
like
didn't care.
6
They
feet
shut us
apart. You're
down.
closing down. So
That's
long
something
story
we
short,
didn't anticipate.
yeah,
you
we
know,
sold
talk about getting hit.
and we said we're moving to Florida. And that's where this
Smart
business
decision.
came aboard, because I feel like in Florida you have such great energy, not to sound, woo woo, but like you're in the sun all the time. You're so close to water, so many areas for you to ground yourself that you're not even understanding. So she actually found our building. She calls me, she's like, I found a building. I'm like, are you insane? It was like a 13,000 square foot building, 30 years old, needs from
Complete gut job.
complete gut job. I said, no, dude, we're gonna rent somewhere, we're gonna take it easy. But then we saw the building.
So that's what I wanted to get at for
Yeah.
the students and for the audience. Like there are different approaches.
I'll tell
Most
you
people would
what-
start with a small location, a lease location, kind of grow the
we
business.
try to maybe we do it the wrong way. I always think, well, let's talk about real estate. Let's talk about the building. Why I decided to get the building. We knew that it was a good investment. For me, we don't ever know whether or not a business will be successful. We hope, we plan, we strategize, but at the end of the day, just like COVID happened and nobody predicted that, we lost tons of money, tons of time with Stitch Kings. So in here, I decided, and let me also back up. My brother, in the same time that we were opening here, was opening a big nightclub in Philly. So he borrowed a lot of money from us. So we were going through all kinds of things. I'm like, we need an insurance policy. If the business doesn't work out, what's plan B? The plan B was the real estate. And I always buy the properties of which we put our buildings into. So that's a side thing, and we could talk about that.
Because at the end of the
But-
day, real estate is always an asset. If your business doesn't sell and you shut down, it's one thing, but you still have the asset where your business is in. So that worked out in our favor for us,
Yes,
for sure.
Not
But
everybody
that's
can do
why-
that, but
Yeah,
we-
of course.
That's why we went. Well, listen,
went big.
we went through an SBA loan. It's not like we're like, oh, here's $5 million. Like we
Yeah.
went
We
through
got a
all.
loan.
It was a huge learning curve for us, but
Sure.
at
Lots
the
of paperwork.
the
Paperwork,
worst.
we got
Yeah, we
screwed.
got
We
it.
can talk
Figure
about
it
all
out,
the
know,
ways
and
that we got.
yeah, I think,
the
and it
wrong
just
end
kind
the
of
stick.
snowballed into what it became. But I think the vision was there, and the belief behind our vision was so important, because if you truly feel it in your gut that like failure is not an option, this is going to work and we're going to make it work, like that mindset is what gets us through. Like more than anything, I think, is just like that drive where you're like, this is going to work, we're going to make it happen. And of course,
But if
there's
it doesn't,
we have the
plan
building,
B. So
but
South
it
Florida
it
real
will,
estate
and
is,
it is,
you know.
yeah.
And yeah, circling back to that, you mentioned, sure, I'm a Floridian. I'm not going anywhere. The sun, the beach, the water, the climate. Maybe not this week. I don't know what happened
This
this
is
week,
awful.
but as business owners, we experience across multiple states. What about the business environment, right? Like the state of Florida is known to be very kind of business friendly. Have you found that to the case, and in what ways?
I think
are we talking about the Department of Health? Like which part of Florida are we talking about? Like the local government, the state government?
Yeah, I really
There's-
think across the board. I mean, some of it starts with some of your most basic stuff, right? With like the state income tax. You mentioned California,
Correct.
right? Like, so some of
That
the
helps here.
fundamental regulatory framework that we benefit from driving so many tourist dollars,
Mhm.
as well as the ease of which it is typically to start a business, register a business, set
Yes.
up a business. It's not the same everywhere.
Correct.
And I think a lot of people in Florida kind of get the wrong idea, especially when you talk about U.S. based versus internationally. Then it's light years different.
Right.
go ahead.
I mean, as far as, opening an LLC and registering your business, it's much easier and much less expensive in Florida. In Pennsylvania, you couldn't get a hold of anyone on the phone. It's, you email them today, 4 months later, they get back to you with one email and they say, hey, you need to do this. And it was very difficult navigating. I feel like the websites in Florida's Department of Health or whatever, professional, the business of professional department, they're a little easier to navigate. They're a lot less expensive. I think to get your LLC is free here. Is even like to
Correct.
incorporate.
It's $125.
It's
It's like
something. We paid like a
Well,
little bit, but
in
yeah.
Philly, I remember paying like $700 for one document. It's a lot less, and it's also a lot less regulated here, which can also be the downfall of a lot of these
100%.
businesses. One of the things I'll tell you from our medical aesthetics, we are very much by the book. We follow very strict guidelines. I mean, we're injecting people's face with Botox and fillers and whatnot, but there are so many companies here. You guys really need to do your homework and just, not to scare you, so many counterfeit products being injected. It's rampant in Florida.
It is
So
the
even though
Wild
it's not
West,
as strongly
100%.
Regulated, that could also be the downfall because people are just kind of like the wild, wild west here. We've had clients come in with the most craziest infections that we had to treat, or, they've got cement injected into their bodies or their BBLs. And it's crazy. It's crazy what's out there.
Yeah.
So definitely do
What
your
about
homework.
the culture in general too, right? Because it's a cultural.
I think it's
shift
a mix
as
from
well,
what
right?
we see here. People who are local, who've lived here for many years, are very different than like the transplants that we have from New York or Chicago. It's a different attitude. They want things like yesterday, but I feel like Florida is on island time and everything's a lot
100%.
slower.
I think that was a big wake-up call for us. I think customer service truly does not exist in Florida.
In a lot of
People are like,
places.
I'll get to you when I get to you. Like
That's
when
like
we
the
had to
trades
get
I
a
was just talking
contractor,
about.
I had to
Exactly.
like, can you come and take my money? I need this
Yeah.
floor done now. Like we are like the people who want things done, like she said yesterday. So the fact that we have to hound people out here was like insane. It was definitely a learning experience for us, but it was to our advantage because people knew that, if Ornela and Diana, the sisters, are coming, just give them what they want because they won't stop until you do. So they'll email you, they'll call you, they'll get on your nerves. But that's to our advantage because people out here aren't used to that. Same thing with the customer service. I feel like
People
we
come
take
to the
it
spa and they're like, "Oh my God, it's so clean! Oh my God, you guys
Yeah,
answer
and
your phone." I'm like, "What kind of spa?"
to us,
you
it's
guys
like-
going
isn't this
to?"
the 101 on running a
It's
business? Pick up the
crazy.
phones.
Yes, it's
Of course,
insane.
email people
So
back
we take it
consistently.
100% seriously how we treat our, like if you go through any of our reviews, at least the biggest compliment we always get, aside from it being clean, which is my number one, is how friendly the staff is. We're very customer forward all the time. Like, they always say customers always right. Of course, sometimes they're not, but we do our best to schmooze them, finesse them, give them what they want to make their experience a pleasurable one so they don't leave a negative review. They don't talk bad about it because even for whatever reason, they didn't have a good time, which is like, how could you not have a good time at a spa? But it happens. What can we do to make your experience better? Sometimes people just want their money back. And if that's what we got to do, we do it. And, it kills me inside because I'm like a justice warrior and I know that they had a good experience, but I'm like, fine, if that's what they need, let's just get them what they want and out the door. We actually started like a block list of clients that we know that are repeat offenders who literally keep coming back and keep saying they had a terrible time and then they keep coming back.
Yeah.
But it's I think that's like what she said as well, as the regulations here like don't exist. Like we're so regulated with how we were in Pennsylvania with what you can do, what you can't do. Out here we would call people like different state and organizations like, what do we do for, what are your rules here? And they don't have any. And it's insane. So
in some departments, departments are overly regulated and some are just completely have no rhyme or reason to what they do. So
okay, well, we're going to field some student questions.
Yeah.
So if you're a student sitting in the audience, you're welcome to come on up. We have time for about 3-4 questions. I'm going to point my microphone over here and fire away and grab a Celsius.
So can I ask exactly what you guys do? Because you mentioned health and wellness. So like, I guess like mentally speaking, like the alterations and like the Botox and stuff like that definitely is wellness. But like, what exactly wellness do you guys do? Do you guys do like the green tea body treatments and all that stuff?
Do you want to go?
So there's two components. The downstairs wellness would be, we have our wellness room, for example. It has a sauna, steam, hot tub, cold plunge, a salt lounge, red light therapy. So it comes from a little bit of a different wellness background. You do massages, we do facials. So it helps you relax. There's a lot of mental health involved in that as well. We do Reiki, if you guys are familiar with any of the spiritual stuff. But in the medical wellness, we have Dr. Jakes, he sits there. We have a medical director who also follows up. We could do chronic health if you have any acute conditions, if you have immune deficiencies that we can help with, chronic illnesses, pain, there's all kinds of other things that we do. So it really depends on which part of the business.
I think I know your question is like, so we try to target mind, body, and soul. So how do we do that? So yes, we try to approach holistically. Like she said, we have all these amenities. Amenities are great. You are relaxing, but what you're not seeing are the other effects of why we do what we do. It's hot to cold therapy. You're detoxing, you're releasing endorphins, you're, reducing inflammation. Those are things that you're getting the benefits of without understanding, like, yeah, I was so relaxed, but your body's also going through an actual process of detox. Same thing for our body massages. We do stuff from like lymphatic drainage. We educate on what we're doing, how we're doing. All of our staff is not just somebody that just does massages. They're all very, very well trained and certified in specific types of services. Same thing for aesthetics. People are like, oh, well, you do aesthetics. You guys are a holistic place. Yeah, but you got to look good to feel good. It's a thing. If you don't like how you look, that affects you. If you feel gross that day, if you didn't brush your hair that day, whatever it may be, that affects you. For guys, let's say you're trying to get to the gym and you're trying to get a certain muscle mass, that affects you, right? When you reach your goals, you feel good. You're on top of the world. Ladies, same thing. You got to feel good about how you are inside and out. And the holistic approach, like she said, we do Reiki healing, we do chakra balancing, sound bowl vibration therapy, all of those things that really connect the mind, body, and soul. And that's kind of what we try to, structure 5 elements as.
Thank you.
I hope that answered your question.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mia.
Hi,
I'd
Mia.
also love to open a mind, body, soul wellness center
Awesome.
eventually one day. And I heard you guys say that you took out a loan when you first got here. Was that you already had some secure funding already from past businesses, or did you already acquire the building and then need the loan for inside operations? Or what's the best way to go about funding for a business like that of large scale?
I think that's a great question.
I guess it depends on if you're buying a building or renting, right? If you're leasing, then there are different programs. We decided we wanted to purchase the real estate. So our SBA loan was structured for the, portion of it was going to buy the building. And then, the other funds were supposed to be for operational costs and then the construction costs. But we also did also inject our own equity and about, do we say a couple $1 million? That was the scale that we wanted to. You don't have to do it. Our initial idea was to do a small spot, which maybe could have cost us $5,000 a month to rent and, a space. And we wouldn't need a loan for that. We could have probably used our own funds to fund it. But it just depends on where you're going with it. And when we decided we were going to go like big right off the bat, and just scale up as we grow from that, that's when we decided to get the big loan. But you don't have to.
Think the biggest misconception is that people that have money can spend more money and do bigger things. You can make a lot of money in 1 year and just the same lose it all the next year. So I think the biggest thing is to understand your business model, understand what is it that you're trying to gain, what are you doing to set yourself a little bit apart than the other business that's doing something similar to you. And then, like she said, to us, we found the building and that kind of gave us the understanding of what we want. Otherwise, if we were just looking just to open something like originally, you could still go get an SBA loan. You don't have to put down all this money that you don't have. When we opened our first business, we didn't have any money.
None.
We had to
Zero.
scrounge up loans from family and friends to make $70,000 to apply to get a license. So you can do it. We weren't married into money. We didn't come from money. Our family are immigrants. Like literally, if we could do it, you guys can do it. It's just a process for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to add something. They're second-time founders, right, running the second business. So, they were able to go to the SBA and fund a new concept. Very important. In a situation like yours, if you're a new business owner, they're never going to fund you.
That's not
You
true.
really,
No.
wait. They're going to fund franchises most commonly is where I was going with that. So I'm in the financial service space. I happen to own a website that deals a lot with SBA loans.
Okay.
So I actually see the back end deals and the percentage of them
Is
going
it different
through.
now? Because we had zero experience in the med spa business. And
But
we had
you guys
to
have a
explain-
lot of
He's saying we have
capital.
a lot of
So she doesn't
capital.
have
Okay, I
capital
see
and
what you
assets
mean.
to back it up. So in her case, if anyone in this room has a small amount of capital, the best place to go is to purchase a franchise, because they believe that the franchises will stay in business and they have a better percentile of success by running the franchise model, right? So if she, for example, buys into a Forever Young, right, spa, right, they have the model that on store number 90, the odds of her success is very high. Versus when you're starting a brand new concept, the success level is very low. So in general, when I see the deal flow come through, in your shoes, it's that way. Or you're buying an existing business, like if you bought their business as an example, then they already have cash flow. They have a lot of
That's what I was
backing.
gonna say.
So in your case, like you guys started a business from scratch in the spa service. Now it's different than buying real estate. Real estate, it's like that's a whole
Well,
different
they
animal.
somehow tangled both of the
Yeah.
loans into the one.
Yeah.
So that's how we got it. But I just want to say about franchises, guys, and this is coming from me, and I'm not an expert. Please don't, take anything I say to heart. But I disagree. I think franchise are a mistake. Maybe it is good for some people. We definitely looked at options, and what it turned out to be is that we were going to pay to, use those people's branding, policies, procedures, but ultimately everything would still be on you. You're hiring people, the professionals that you're bringing on board, how you want to scale. That's still on you. So now you're paying an additional fee every month for them and their,
Their percentage,
whatever
yeah.
they're taking. When we had this with the smoothie bars, just so you know, we were about to open we opened a little smoothie bar, part of the SBA loan that they wanted us to do, but we could have franchised that. But once I realized what it took to open a smoothie bar, it was $10,000 to open a smoothie bar versus $200,000 than buying into a franchise. I'm like, how many years do I have to sell smoothies to make that
but
money
you're
back?
also talking as an experienced business owner. So
Okay,
if
maybe
she
you're right.
has no
Sorry,
experience,
maybe I shouldn't be the one.
I
telling
get what you're
you.
saying. A franchise is not a terrible idea if you're starting out, because it does give you a already ready
Foundation.
plan and structure and foundation that you can learn from and grow from. If I had that opportunity for doing a home care franchise, I think we probably would have maybe looked into it, but that wasn't an option back then for
But
that.
does that mean, like, if you go, so to get a loan, you say you would make a franchise, like you would make it, or you buy into a franchise?
So
Like,
you can franchise your business.
Yeah,
like we've
like
been
you make
approached to
multiple everywhere.
franchise, but if he's talking about buying into a so like for example, give me a franchise. How many? There's like let's say Panera Bread, right? Like I don't know, Salad Works. They're all a franchise, which means they all are owned by one main conglomerate business, but then you buy a different location and you run that location, but you're still paying that big conglomerate their percentage, but you have to follow their rules.
You
So
have to buy
they-
their product.
You
have
got to
to buy
do
their
how they want,
marketing.
what they want. They sell you the marketing. They tell you what's the, meal of the month, promo. You don't have the flexibility to be your own type of, owner and do things the way you want. There's only very small leeway of what they allow you to do on your own, but they have a very strict guidebook that you have to follow. It's a double-edged sword. It's foolproof
do
in a
have-
sense that like it gives you exactly what you should do, but you can do one like that, learn from that, and then branch off and do something else with those strategies on your own of your own business. So it's not a bad way to start. It's a great way to start. It's just it depends on what you're looking for yourself. If you're like, no, I'm a creative person, I want to do my own thing, I don't want anybody telling me what to do, that is not for you then, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
another option I like for first time people is entrepreneurship through acquisition, which you reference, and we're working on building out a program here, which is where you buy someone who owns a spa or any other type of business who is getting to the age where they really need to retire or they want to retire. And there's millions of
Yeah.
There's
businesses
so
Yeah.
many,
that look like
so
that.
many here.
Yeah.
And then you can
The boss?
negotiate in owner training as part of the contract so they can train
Yeah.
you so you learn all about the business, but it also enables the flexibility wherein after they do that training for 6 months or a year, you can say, okay, this I like, this I don't, change this branding. You have complete flexibility, and you can sometimes get, again, an SBA loan to fund that acquisition, or sometimes it's tax advantageous for the owner to do owner financing
Yes, you can.
and
there's
turn it
other
into more of a
options.
retirement than a lump sum.
Yes,
There's a
yeah.
lot of options. It just
I mean, I'll
depends
tell you
on,
this,
like, what you
and
wanna
it's
do.
probably the worst thing I'm going to tell you, but that's what I did, and I'm
Listen up, guys.
You guys want to know about
Bad
us?
news
We're
coming in.
I took out a credit card loan. I know. And I'm sorry. I was 24 when we opened the first business. I had no, I just got out of graduate school. I had no money coming in that was, I was working, but it wasn't anything. I took out 3 credit cards. I don't know how they gave me a credit limit of 20,000 each. I took 3 credit cards out, maxed them out, and that was the first year's cash flow for the hospice. And then the second year, I was able to pay all of that off and then some. So it's different, different strokes for different folks. And for us in this business, the SBA was the right choice because we couldn't come up with the funding. We didn't want to put all of our money into it. For that business, it was different. For Stitch Kings, we just funded that privately. But that was different. So I think it depends on what you're looking for. But if you're looking into the health and wellness, try to start smaller. Find the right people that can grow your business for you. Being like a sole practitioner isn't the way. I'm going to be honest with you.
And don't do the credit card thing. No,
I know. That's what I
love that you
said.
did
I'm
it,
telling
though.
you what I
love
think.
it.
You guys want to know?
love it.
I think the difference
But
why
we
I'll
also
tell you,
we're young and we didn't have what you guys have. You
Yeah.
have all of these options. You have the internet to help you. We didn't have all this stuff.
also we come from a different background. Like our family's an immigrant family. We came here with no English and no money. Okay, so we didn't have the opportunities that you guys definitely have now. It was definitely harder to get loans and whatever to people who have no money. You can't just go be like, hey, bank, I want to open a business, give me $1 million. I'm like, get the hell out of here. But what we did is, it's not a best option, but it was our only option is to open cards and keep going. And like that limit where you feel like I'm about to lose everything, you just keep going and you keep pushing, and then all of a sudden it just happens, hopefully. And but you have to be able to risk it, but you also got to spend money to make money. I truly believe that. So if you believe in your product and yourself, then, like, not to sound again corny, but I 100% believe in that mentality. It works. Yeah.
My name's Jake.
Hey, Jake.
We'll keep it quick, but I was wondering about your competition. It seems like anywhere I drive around here, there's
I love this
several,
question.
several
Personally,
spas and boutiques.
I don't believe in competition. I think that everybody has business everywhere. There's something that a spa down the street might offer that I don't have, maybe a certain laser or whatever. The only thing I can give my clients differently than what they can get somewhere else is the experience, which is, it's a clean place. It's a safe place. They're going to leave knowing that I didn't just take all their money and they left like, why the hell did I just spend X amount on this? And they're always going to leave satisfied. And I think the experience is the only thing that sets us apart. But I word competition because there's nothing that you're going to think of that hasn't already been done in some form or fashion, unless you invent something completely new, which, I mean, I have some ideas, but I'm telling you, like, there's always going to be a business similar to yours, if not exactly like yours. But like, the only thing you can offer differently is just that experience. And I personally, we work really well with other businesses in the same industry. I think, talking to each other, what do you guys offer? How did you do this? Is this slow for you guys right now? Like, I don't like being in like our own little bubble of like, no, this is my business. I'm not going to tell you anything. We worked very well with a lot of agencies for home care and hospice, but maybe they took an insurance that I didn't take. So if I got a referral for a client I couldn't accept, I'm like, you know what, let me refer you to this other agency that can help you. Because at the end of the day, I feel like when you work with people instead of against people, it's more in your favor than anything. So I just personally don't believe in competition.
I think that's a great answer, and we've seen that so many times on the episodes of local business owners who refer to one another, who are very friendly and in the same industry, maybe a different scale or a different approach.
Yeah.
But I think that's a great answer. Maybe a good place to wrap us up.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on the Shrimp Thing today.
Oh
For
my God,
everybody
this was
listening,
so fun, you guys. Thank you for
their
having
social
us.
handles are on our website, shrimptankpodcast.com, and on the feed today. So catch us next week at 1:00. Take care, everybody.